Hello again, guys, and welcome back to the Midnight Oil Racing League's GT7 Championship. This is the second race from round 9 at Monza with no chicane. Obviously, this one is a reverse grid. Thomas did manage to make it back for the second race, so he's going to start on pole. Clutch will start in second place. Chuck will start in third. We've got Blood Diamond in fourth. Vexed is in fifth. Jerry in sixth. Piggle seventh. Dan Bailey starts in eighth. Mawson in ninth. And Wayne G will start in 10th place. So, without further ado, let's get into this second and final race of the evening. And again, Blood Diamond and Vex getting very good getaways there. Thomas will lose first place to Chuck, will he? No. In fact, Blood Diamond up into the lead. Vexed up into second. We've got Chuck holding on to third now. Thomas is down to fourth. Down to fifth even, as Clutch up to fourth. Side by side with Thomas there. And it's all got a little bit congested. Is everybody going to get through here unscathed? And it looks like maybe they have. It looks like Vex getting forced onto the inside sausage curb there, hopefully not picking up a penalty. Chuck still well and truly on his bumper. Does lose that position though to Wayne G, so he's down to fifth now. Wayne G is up to fourth. We've got Dan Bailey there in sixth. Dan Bailey getting a good start there. Jerry Smiles now seventh. We've got Piggle eighth. Mawson ninth and Clutch down to 10th. So back towards the front, and Blood Diamond in the lead with Thomas now in second place. We've got Vexed in third. Can he keep Wayne G at bay? Wayne G all over the rear bumper of the Citroen. And we're on board now with Wayne G chasing down Vex. Let's hope Vex doesn't make a mistake like he did in the previous race. I think actually managing to move up to third by the end of the first lap in the first race as well. So yeah, that Citroen has had a very good getaway all season long. Possibly one of the fastest starters on the grid. But unable to turn it into a win. Wayne G giving Vex the bump draft. Will he opt to go past this time? And there we go, so he does finally manage to pull past Vexed. Does get the move up into third place. Vex down to fourth now. Will he look for a return move on Wayne G? And in fact, no, looking like he's going to lose that position to Dan Bailey. Dan Bailey manages to get past Chuck there. Chuck actually dropping 2 positions down to 7th. I think it was very, very close between him and Dan Bailey. Not wanting to pick up too much of that sausage curb, or maybe he did on the inside there, Chuck. Maybe that's where he lost the time. Down to 7th place. So Jerry now 8th. We've got Piggle in 9th, Clutch there in 10th, managing to keep with the pack this time round. So Dan Bailey now looking for the move on the Citroen. Surely he's not going to go here into Ascari. Not a very good place to try and set one up. Oh, almost a bit of a moment there on the exit. Mawson stays close to the rear bumper of the Mercedes. Is Dan going to be able to get a move anytime soon, or will he wait until the start finish? Maybe focus on getting a better exit out of the Parabolica. I think Vexed is in danger of losing this position to both Dan and Mawson. Mawson, who has pulled out of the slip there. Is Dan going to be able to make it through as well? They're 3 wide into turn 1. Oh, there was a bit of a nudge there as Dan Bailey passed Vex. Vexed almost getting shoved out onto the grass. And Chuck in the background there with a second's worth of penalty. Jerry looking for the move up the inside into the chicane. He wasn't quite close enough. He may be losing the position now too. Piggle, he looks for the better exit. Doesn't quite manage to pull through. They're both surely going to get that position on Chuck though once he serves that penalty. Chuck on the medium tyres in this first stint. Where has Chuck picked that up? Maybe for crossing that inside chicane a few too many times. Not too sure. Zavek's now down to 6th place. Mawson is up to 4th, being chased down now by Dan Bailey. Dan Bailey 5th. Is Dan going to go for a move into Ascari once again? Looking for the move. He's on the inside line now. Mawson manages to keep it though. Keeps the boot in, keeps the position. Oh, off onto the grass. That was definitely a sketchy moment there from Mawson. Managed to keep that Supra going though. So we do see Chuck losing the position now to Jerry Woody, loses position to Pickle as well. Pickle looks for the inside into Parabolica, does get the move done up into 8th place. Will he outbrake himself? No, he doesn't. Getting the move done with ease after Chuck serving that penalty, just slowed all his momentum. So now Jerry creeping into the slipstream of Vex ahead. Probably in dirty air range at the moment. He's going to have to watch that as they come into turn 1. Will he get a little bit of front end wash? In fact, doesn't look like it's too bad. Opting for the softs once again in the first stint is Jerry. Oh, bit of a moment there for Jerry, keeps it going. Oh, that was great reactions there from Jerry. Almost binning the Hyundai into the kitty litter. So back at the front, we've got Blood Diamond on a set of racing softs. Starting to be reeled in by Thomas. Thomas has definitely started to catch now. He's been chasing for the last 3 laps. Is this finally where we're going to see a... Oh, I thought Blood was actually going into the pits there, opting for that inside line onto the start finish. Hugging the pit wall there. Definitely looked like he was into the pits for a minute, trying to break the toe now. Back to Thomas. Thomas, it was just creeping up there, creeping up onto the rear wing of the Mercedes. They're going to be touching bumpers soon. Will he look for a move into the chicane? He's going to be close enough. He's not close enough on this occasion. But there's definitely a couple more overtaking opportunities throughout the remainder of the lap. Through the first Lesmo into the second one. Maybe we'll see a move come. Maybe Thomas will get the better exit through the second Lesmo. Be able to get past before Ascari. Wendy G in the background, keeping him honest there as well. Wendy G not too far back, not close enough to try and go for a move, but he could capitalise if these two have a coming together. Oh no, Jason! Blood Diamond very deep through the exit there of Ascari. Will that land him with a penalty? It looks like he's got away with it at the moment. How long is he going to stay out on them softs? And there we go, we see the move come now from Thomas. Up into the lead of the race. Blood Diamond down to second place. Thomas putting in purple sectors. Wendy G with the current fastest lap, but that was 2 tenths purple through the first sector there for Thomas. he keeps up this pace, he should surely take the fastest lap as well, maybe into the 39s, which is absolute blistering race pace on the mediums. I think the soft tyres on Jason's Mercedes just on a bit of a death now. Maybe he will lose that position to Wenny G as well. Wenny G definitely only a few tenths back now. Yeah, you can see how much Wenny G is short shifting there to save fuel, but that Supra, Dodge Viper, sorry, just seems to pull anyway. It's around halfway through the rev range. There we go. Yeah, pretty much halfway through the rev range. Does follow Jason into the pit, so them two on the undercut strategy. And look how much fuel difference there. Blood Diamond on 26%, Wenny G on 34% as he enters the pits. That is insane. So Thomas with a nice bit of a gap back to second place. Mawson. Dan Bailey maybe having a moment somewhere, and Vext is up to third. Being chased down by Pickle and Jerry. Jerry gets the move done on the entry to the chicane there. Pickle going a little bit deep. Doesn't pick up a penalty though, which is good. Sometimes the game just decides to slap you with a penalty just to insult to injury, and it's not very nice. Obviously the final race of the season as well is a 50-minute endurance race around Le Mans, so make sure you stay tuned for that one. So we've got Dan Bailey in 7th place now, chasing down Chuck in 6th. We've got Clutch now in 8th. He has lost a bit of time though to the cars ahead. Wayne G now 9th place and Blood Diamond 10th. So Wayne G somehow getting past Blood in the pits. I think Blood obviously having to fill up the car a lot more, using more fuel in the first stint. I'll definitely be where that happened. So it looks like Thomas, is he saving fuel? So yeah, not using the full range, but not really short shifting massively early. So Mawson there in 2nd place, now being chased down by Vext. Has Mawson had a bit of a moment somewhere on the medium tyres? I think Vext actually opting for the medium tyres in the first stint in this second race. Obviously on the softs in the first race. Collected a little bit of the sausage there, which I think slowed him down. He's lost a couple of attempts to Mawson. Was definitely closer before Ascari. But look at the fuel difference there. Vext is going to have to go into the pits. I think Vext has been fuel saving as well. Well, that Citroen very thirsty. So he's going to get rid of their mediums now. Probably take on a set of softs for the second stint. Jerry follows him in. Even Jerry's got more fuel. The only person who goes in who's got less fuel than Vext is Dan Bailey in the Mercedes. Chuck with 11%, Clutch with 8. So Wayne G We'll move up the order, up into 4th place once again. And Blood Diamond up into 5th. So Thomas has stayed out, favours track position, lap 9 now. Yeah, Mawson's going to go in, end of this lap. Holds that 2nd place for the minute. Pickle up into 3rd. Looks like he'll also be pitting end of this lap. So Wayne G should move back up into 2nd or up into the lead of the race if Thomas does pit at the end of this lap, at the end of lap 9. But Wayne G actually creating some distance now to Blood Diamond there in 5th place. Let's see if Jason's short shifting or not. So yeah, it does look like he is still having the short shift slightly. Trying to make that fuel last. Thomas is into the pits now. Is Mawson going to follow? I think he is. Yeah, he does. Pickle will follow also. So Wayne G will move back up into the lead of the race once again. Oh, will he? Oh, it looks like Thomas may be coming out ahead. So Wayne G back up into 2nd place. Thomas has come out ahead. And Thomas is going to be on a fresh set of racing soft tyres. What is that gap? Maybe under fueling the car, possibly. But in fact, no, he's only got 5 laps to go. Well, that's a turnout for the books. Maybe Thomas, after his DC in the first race, is going to make up for this one by taking the win here in the 2nd race of the evening. Wayne G still having a short shift. Actually, so he is using a bit more of the rev range now in an attempt to try and chase Thomas down. Try and close that gap. Still with the fastest lap, 140.388 for Wayne G. But yeah, he's definitely pulled out a few car lengths again over Blood back in 3rd. Maybe Blood Diamond actually like trying to work on saving his tyres as well, because their mediums are starting to fade fairly quickly. Mawson behind on a fresh set of softs. 4th place now for Mawson. We've got Pickle there in 5th. Also on the soft compound tyre. Dexter's in 6th. He's also on softs, but a couple of laps older. Can he close the gap to Pickle there in 5th? Only a couple of seconds at the moment. Yeah, vexed. Using the full rev range now. Trying to close that gap to Pickle and keep the gap back to Jerry as well. Jerry, who has been looking fast all night in the Hyundai. They're in 7th place now. Has a nice bit of a gap over Chuck in 8th. Chuck also on the softs. I think he pit a lap earlier, or a couple of laps earlier maybe. Was that a lap on softs? Holy crap. They fade really quickly around Monza. But it is 5 times fuel and 5 times tyre wear this season, which I think is going to be decreased slightly for next season. Dan Bailey all over the back of Chuck now though. Can he force him into an error? Dan actually putting in a purple middle sector. the gap back to Clutch, not as big as it was in the first race. Maybe Clutch starting to find his feet around Monza, but maybe a little too late. Being lap 11 now, only 4 more laps to be able to get something done. And I think the gap just too big at this stage. So I think he's just going to write this round off. And Thomas did take the fastest lap in the end of 1:39.7, aided by that soft compound tyre and the lower fuel mode, or lower fuel load. Probably had just over half a tank when he put that lap in. And actually pulling out a bit more of a gap over Wenny G in second now. Wenny G under no pressure though from Mawson in third. Mawson, who has managed to get past Blood Diamond. Blood Diamond, Jason down to fourth now. Can Jason creep back into the slip of the Supra? Or is he too far back now? I think just trying to nurse their mediums at the moment. So Pickle managing to stay ahead of Vexed. And actually pulling out a bit of a gap. So at one stage it did look like Vexed may have been able to start trying to go for a move, but end of lap 12, start lap 13. Maybe just having to work on staying ahead of the cars behind. Lap times all over the place. You're a train of 3 cars here. We've got Jerry, Dan Bailey and Chuck. Very close indeed. Is Dan Bailey going to look for the bump draft? No, he looks to the outside. Does manage to fly through. Takes the position. And in fact, look at Chuck go. Chuck looking for the position now as well. Up the inside there of the Hyundai. Jerry's just going to hold that inside line into the chicane though. In fact, no he doesn't. He drops down to 9th. So Dan and Chuck up to 7th and 8th. Can they close the gap to Vexed? Aided by the younger soft. In fact, no, it looks like Vexed the younger. All on the soft compound tyre, apart from Jerry, who's on the mediums. I think Wayne G also on mediums for the second stint. That is Chuck and Dan Bailey going to work together to try and catch Vexed. Coming up to the start of lap 14 now. Oh, in fact, it looks like Chuck going for the move. No, he doesn't. So yeah, Chuck is aiding Dan Bailey now. Can they catch Vexed? They've got 2 laps to do. 2 laps to do it in. And in fact, Dan putting in a purple first sector there by 3/10. That's huge. Will Dan Bailey be able to take the fastest lap away from Thomas? Thomas currently on 1:39.7, which is very good race pace. And are their mediums going to start coming into their own for Jerry? Jerry just sitting pretty at the moment. They definitely look a lot better than the softs at this stage. The guys ahead are going to be starting to feel a little bit of understeer in the next few turns, you would imagine. Wait. Oh no, Vex must have binned it again somewhere. So just coming through Ascari and just, what happened there? Not entirely sure what happened there, but Vex having to wait to rejoin. Was chasing down Pickle, trying to chase down Pickle. So Dan Bailey up into 6th place, Chuck 7th, Jerry 8th, Vex down to 9th. You're just going to have to try and limp that Citroen home now. Going to be absolutely kicking himself after the starts he's had this season. And are we going to see a move here from Jerry, or is Jerry going to look for the bump? I'm not sure if that's a bug now because Jerry's just gone 5 temps purple through the first. Oh, Dan Bailey! Dan Bailey! No, Dan Bailey! Oh, no. So we see VA's combat style battle that's going on here between these 3 cars into the chicane now. What happened there with Dan Bailey? Oh, catches the inside sausage there, lights it up on the rear, loses 2 positions. Chuck up into 5th place. Will he lose that position though to Jerry? Jerry looking very racy indeed. Can he take 6th place away from Chuck? We're going to have to go back on board with Thomas in just a second though. Thomas, who's coming up to Parabolica now. The final turn of the final race of the evening. And does manage to keep the fastest lap there as well. So maybe that was a glitch we saw with the first sector. There we go, Thomas will take the checkered flag and the win here in the second race of the evening. GG Thomas. Wayne G will take 2nd. GG Wayne. Moulson comes home in 3rd. We got Blood Diamond finishing in 4th place and almost out of fuel. Pickle finishes in 5th. We have Dan Bailey. Dan Bailey takes 6th place. GG Dan. Chuck will take 7th. Vexed. I want to think Jerry must have had a moment somewhere. Vex managing to salvage a position at the end. Takes 8th. Jerry will take 9th. And Clutch. Last but not least, 360 across the line. GG Clutch takes that 10th place, and that was the final race of the evening and of round 9 of season 3. So obviously next week is the endurance race, the final race of the season, 50 minutes of Le Mans. So make sure you stay tuned for that one. I'll see you there. I've been your boy Vex. This has been Midnight Oil Racing League's GT7 Championship. Good night.